Top stories. Correspondent takes a look at the low turnout of citizens during public hearings on bills and effect on lawmaking process in Nigeria.
In short, everybody should be interested because the laws are meant for human beings, not animals.
Plus, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies News partners University of Ilorin on capacity building and training. Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I am Brina Obasi. It is the responsibility of the legislative arm of government to make laws. However, the constituents have a role to play in effective lawmaking. One way to this is through participation in public hearings and promotion of private bills. In this special report, National Assembly correspondent takes a look at citizens during public hearings on bills, factors responsible and its effect on lawmaking process in Nigeria. People hear about bills passed into law at the National Assembly, but may not know the steps it takes for a bill to scale through and be assented to by the president before it becomes a law. Before legislative arm of government makes law, it starts as a bill sponsored by legislators based on the challenges of their constituencies or issues of national interest. A bill is usually presented as a document on the floor of the House where it will pass first and second readings as well as move to the committee in charge of the issues raised in the bill for public hearings. However, the public do not usually participate as expected, rather stakeholders of the subject matter in the bills. A legislator, Mr. Ogena Hamifuna, says that such attitude from the public has contributed in making some of the bills, when passed into law, ineffective in solving challenges as expected. Hence, the aspect of the downtrodden which is needed to be part of the bills are always missing, resulting in lingering problems.
Why the parliament goes for public hearing is also to get the input of members of the public, professional bodies, and civil society groups. In short, everybody should be interested because the laws are meant for human beings, not animals. So they must have an input.
Other lawmakers noted that the National Assembly can only do the little it can to announce public hearings, while it's left for the public to utilize the opportunity to exercise their rights.
When we had the public hearing for the startup bill, the number of participants were just small. But when you go and bring one funny subject matter, you will see, in fact, you will not even get a place to put your leg. So it means Nigerians are the ones determining what they take as interesting and what they take as uninteresting. Ours is to speak out. If people come and fight, if they don't come, it's not our fault.
People from all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria that represent different federal constituencies, they will equally make their own contribution because they are representative of the people and representative of their constituents. So by putting up their own contribution is enough for you to accept that yes, the people already voiced out their interests or whatever.
I would love to see a house that deals a lot more with introduction of cutting-edge technology in the data management system, synchronization system, and methods that list bills that are on their way, their stages, and that really charts the progress of bills as we are progressing. First reading, second reading, so that most times there won't be repetitions.
They are of the view that the 10th National Assembly should do more enlightenment on public bills for more participation to tackle issues headlong. We have a guest in the studio to highlight more on the need for the public to participate in public hearings. Join me to welcome a social affairs analyst and Director General, the Flag Foundation of Nigeria, Mr. Chris Agari. So you're welcome to the news.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. You saw that report we had earlier, and the question is, what is the need for constituents to participate in public hearings on bills before they are passed into law?
As the background story indicates, the need and importance of the people themselves for whom the laws are made for to participate actively too in the process of lawmaking cannot be overemphasized. What's the essence of making laws? The laws are made for man, by man, to regulate man's conduct and behavior, to ensure peace and orderliness in the society, to ensure that it's justice. And so, since man is not morally up and doing, the laws come in. Law is a servant of the morality. Law comes in where morality fails. And so, in enacting a law and the processes of lawmaking, the peculiarities, cultural peculiarities, religious, traditional peculiarities, the worldview of the people for whom the laws are made for, are important things that should be taken into consideration. Even as society is dynamic, culture itself is dynamic, as the world is changing, as we are seeing, and changing very fast, the laws must align itself with these current realities. So as we're making laws, where public hearing comes in, the people for which this law is made for, there should have been, I suppose, and I suggest, if it's not yet the case, is some kind of opinion poll beyond what we've just done now. Because the people who are the society itself dwells mostly in the rural areas. A lot of them are not educated. And these are the laws that are supposed to guide their conduct and behavior for peace and orderliness in the society. In as much as they say ignorance is not an excuse in law. But then, for a law that you do not know that exists, and you try the person based on that, and convict that person, it also raises a moral question. So it is in the process of lawmaking that the people, the constituents we're talking about, I suggest that if a lawmaker is to participate in any lawmaking process, it behoves on him or her to be in touch with his constituents, even through the community centers, the village halls, and say, this is the law we are making in Abuja. This is the law that we are suggesting. This and this are what is contained. What do you think about it? Public engagement should be the order of the day, beyond the elitist thing that we see always. In fact,
I was coming to that. From your own perspective, do you think Nigerians participate enough when it comes to public hearings?
The Nigerians, are they even aware? Yes, they have their representatives there, who are the members of the National Assembly, as the case may be, Senate or House of Rep. Yes, the law, in the process of making law, it comes either as an executive bill or from a private member-sponsored bill, passes the first reading, the second reading, it goes to its committee stage. It is a committee that announces days for public hearing. For God's sake, even you here, let's be true to ourselves. How many times have you even heard of in a public hearing? Here, how many times? We have also had experiences where we learnt of one, and then they could not even give us access to the National Assembly. They say you call a member that will tell you, whereas it's public hearing, the public who has interest or who is an expert. And that is, I'll give you an instance. There was a case, they proposed amendment for the act that regulates the way a national flag is displayed in Nigeria, and all about the flag and the other, of course, national symbols. I learned of it late, even as a vexillologist, as an expert, as somebody who derives joy in talking issues concerning the flag. I could not gain access. And of course, that be the numbers, because who are those to contribute to it?
What then do you think that is responsible for the low turnout of citizens' participation when it comes to public hearings?
Well, lack of publicity. One, lack of publicity. Then,
but they say the public.
Of course, yes, they will say, yeah, what for God's sake. Let's not go that area. Yes, you see publication in the paper. What's the percentage of Nigerians that read newspapers? What's the percentage? That's the truth of the matter. You know. Yes, they have their representatives there, but in the National Assembly we have about 236 in the 260 in the House of Rep and 109 in the Senate, compared to 216 million people. What the point I'm making is that even Though in the constitutional amendment, they will also go to their constituencies. It's not only the issues of constitution that guides and regulates conduct of people. In fact, in our own system here, I even doubt the level of participation of the police. Right? Maybe laws that are criminal laws, have police whose prerogative it is to maintain law and order in the society, who comes face to face every day. If you go to the average police station and see the reports that bring, and see cases, and see, all sorts of misdemeanors and so on and so forth. So they are, in that regard, they are in touch with the people whose this law is concerned, and should be playing active role in public hearing, in lawmaking, in contributing to the laws that will stand the test of time.
What do you think can be done to encourage people to actually utilize this opportunity of, going for public hearings to contribute effectively? Yeah,
even as that, I let me see this opportunity that our lawmakers, look, there's also a lot of laws already in the system. Some obsolete laws, some laws that are not just making the law, that are practically impossible to implement, to operate. Then you have the case of conflict of laws.
So are you saying nothing can be done to encourage citizens to participate?
A lot should be done.
So how can they be encouraged?
One, let there be a wider consultation and publicity. Let there be a wider consultation. I mean, the radios are there. What stops you? The town criers. The town criers are available. That's the easiest way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chris Agiri, for coming on the news.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you. Good. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. The need for partnership between institutions and other organizations to achieve goals has again been stressed as a necessary tool to achieve results. This is what informed a memorandum of understanding reached between the University of Ilorin and the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies towards building legislative capacities and entrenching democratic values in Nigeria. John Yaku reports.
The partnership, which was muted 4 months ago, is for collaboration in the area of training and capacity building for legislators, their aides and Nigerians at large on the values of legislature and democracy. The choice of University of Ilorin is the fact that the university has a center for legislative studies.
That is, if we work together, we are likely to achieve better. And at our level, we have not allowed that opportunity to slip.
No university can be, or institution of learning can be on its own in the contemporary world. Ideas are coming up on minute-by-minute basis every day. And if you do not partner, you don't know what you can get from your partnership.
Director General of NEEDS, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, commended the university for its prompt response to the collaboration, stressing that it will help to bring training and capacity building closer to many other states.
Working with us to see how those contiguous states like Niger, like Oyo State, like Osun State, with Kwara as the center, as well as the most peaceful state in the country, Ekiti, Ondo, so we can now leverage on our own expertise to bring them on board.
To actualize this collaboration, the two institutions constituted a technical committee to work out modalities for its takeoff. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
And now to legislative matters. Senate has constituted an ad hoc committee to compile list of federal roads and gully erosion sites across the country for immediate government intervention. This is sequel to a motion raised by the Deputy President of the Senate, Baru Jibril, on behalf of the entire Senate. The lawmakers say the poor state of some roads, which has affected economic growth and is responsible for loss of lives in accidents. Senate expressed concern that since the return of democracy in 1999, trillions of naira have been spent on roads construction and rehabilitation with little achieved.
With 10 days left as provided in the Constitution, anticipation among Nigerians is high that the President will any moment from now transmit to the Senate the list of ministerial nominees for screening and confirmation.
And so when at the commencement of plenary, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, mentioned communication from the President, the chamber was quiet, with much expectations to hear the new cabinet nominees.
Big is getting excited. Maybe he's expecting his name to be sent to us for something, I don't know.
That shall be a story for another day because, as it turned out, this communication is seeking confirmation of another set of presidential appointees.
This is a request for confirmation of the appointments of members of the governing board of the Northeast Development Commission.
General Paul Tafa was reappointed as the board chairman, same as Mohammed Gune Al-Kali, who was reappointed as the managing director. Other features as plenary is the constitution of a committee to compile lists of federal roads and gully erosion sites across the country that require urgent intervention. Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, raised the motion on behalf of entire members of the Senate.
Some of these federal roads have been awarded for either construction or rehabilitation, only to be abandoned by the contractors after moving to site.
And take a decision on how to ensure that all the roads in Nigeria across this country are attended to.
The Senate has commended and hereby commends the last administration of President Muhammadu Buhari for finding alternative means of funding road infrastructure and urges the current administration to continue in that regard.
Senate also set up an ad hoc committee to investigate alleged unprofessional conduct of some of the personnel of the Nigeria Customs Service while handling firearms.
The inability to checkmate this recurring abuse of firearms by officers of the Nigerian Customs Service might lead to further loss of innocent lives and possibly reprisal attacks by angered civilians.
Even in Delta State recently, NDLE officers shot and killed a 2-year-old baby. I believe that the investigation must be thorough and somebody must take responsibility.
Senate also adopts a motion from Senator Abba Moro urging employers of labor in Nigeria to stop discriminating job seekers on the grounds of age barriers. The lawmakers urge governments to put in place a policy that will address the issue. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has rejected a motion to suspend the latest increase in the pump price of petrol from 540 naira to 617 naira by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited. National Assembly correspondent Mutayire Iben reports that the House also adopted a motion urging the President to lift the embargo on employment in ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government.
The service chiefs confirmed at the Committee of the Whole and Major General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Biodun Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ugala, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff.
That the House do consider the report of the ad hoc committee on the screening of nominees for appointment as Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. So we say number one recommendation is carried. Number one recommendation carried.
The House resolves to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate frequent hike in pump price of petrol and report back for further legislative action.
We're expecting a hike in price of food in the coming days because the price of fuel affects the price of everything in the market. Mr. Speaker, this is the People's House, and we represent the interests of Nigerians.
For the House to suspend the increase in the fuel by NNPC, pending their appearance to this hallowed committee.
Okay, let me put it to question. Those in support that will stop the price increase subject to investigation, say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. We should not preempt the committee.
The lawmakers also adopted a motion urging the president to lift the embargo on employment in ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government.
Some MDAs have resorted to engaging casual staff who are paid from internally generated revenue and other sources. While it is sad that these casual staff are non-pensionable,
House committees were mandated to investigate the concessioning of the nation's airports to foreign firms and the utilization of the National Housing Fund.
Major airports in Lagos, Abuja, and Kano have remained very consistently subject of controversies due to entrenched personal interest.
Away from the plenary, 19-year-old Maysoma Ejikeme appeared before the House Investigative Ad Hoc Committee with a letter of apology, pleading for leniency from JAMB and Nigerians over the manipulation of her 2023 UTME result.
With a heavy heart, I humbly seek your forgiveness for the mistakes I've made and the pain I've caused. I deeply and sincerely admit that I ignorantly got my JAMB results from another portal, which was not JAMB portal.
The House Investigative Committee urged the public to sustain confidence in public institutions. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
We now pause for break. Reactions trail the kidnap of a medical consultant of the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, Professor Ekanem Ephraim. These are more news after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, we are on NTA Parliamentary News coming to you from Abuja. And now to state legislative matters. The attention of the Abia State House of Assembly has been drawn to the terrifying incident involving the killing of a retired military man from Arochukwu constituency in the state. The brief was contained in a matter of urgent public importance presented by the majority leader of the House, Uchenna Okoro, during a plenary. Assembly correspondent Chika Okore has the details.
Going by the incessant security challenges in different parts of the country, Southeast inclusive, the 8th section of Abia State House of Assembly appears not to be sleeping on the matter by demanding more proactive actions from the relevant authorities.
In view of the foregoing, Majority Leader of the House and member representing Arochukwu constituency, Uchenna Okoro, through a matter of urgent public necessity, narrated the brutal killing of one of his constituents and retired military man, who was subsequently buried in a shallow grave. Other members lent their voice.
For the sad notice, I wish to draw the attention of this honorable House to an incident that happened in my constituency. In which one of the plants making up the 5 plants in my constituency woke up to the sad news of the disappearance of the retired soldier. In a swift action, the combined search team immediately went into search of the retired soldier. Promptly, it was discovered that the retired soldier was killed and buried in a shallow grave. The situation, however, was indicated by the same unidentified gunmen have been sending messages threatening their preparedness to launch further attack on the community.
The House needs to rise to the occasion. This is a complaint too many in Abia State.
And by extension, this is what is affecting the entire state. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I strongly support and move that this resolution should be passed.
Through a voice vote, the House resolved, among other things, that security agencies should synergize and adopt solution-proven strategies to forestall further killings, maiming and destruction of lives and property in the state.
So that the House should call on the leadership of the 14 to introduce a few checking points around Ovito and moving and the global axis. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay.
A bill for a law to establish University of Aba, sponsored by the Speaker Emmanuel Emerowa, has passed first reading. By this, the Speaker Emmanuel Emerowa has set the pace for bill presentation at the Hallowed Chamber. From the Abia State House of Assembly, Chika Okori, NTA News.
The Cross River State House of Assembly has frowned at the kidnap of a medical consultant of the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, Professor Ekanem Ephraim, and promised to be in consonance with the state government's decision to ensure swift release of the victim by pleas with the Nigerian Medical Association to resume work at hospital to save lives. Udrak Etem reports that the resolution followed a deliberation on a matter of urgent public importance and resurgence of kidnapping in Cross River State raised by member representing Abuja State constituency, David Eta.
The increasing rate of insecurity in some parts of Cross River State, particularly Calabar South and its environs, has become worrisome. Its activities such as kidnapping, cultism, piracy and militancy in the waterways have put travelers in fear and fishermen whose businesses are also affected. This issue of insecurity was deliberated at the Cross River State House of Assembly during plenary as the motion calling on the state government to adopt adequate measures to curb the menace was moved by member representing Calabar South State constituency, Victor Nsa, and the motion was also supported by other members of the House.
I would like to move a motion calling on the State Security Advisor to the governor to adopt adequate measures to curb the menace of militancy in Calabar. The Calabar South has become a place whereby people there that living there cannot even sleep with their two eyes closed. It's a problem to us. I must say that while we are calling on security agencies to help the people of Calabar South, we must also take note that security is everybody's business.
Inasmuch as security remains the responsibility of government, the House emphasized the need for citizens to give necessary information to security agencies and government for effective policing.
Calling on state government to be proactive security-wise.
The Speaker also informed that the resolutions of the House will be sent to the Executive for necessary action. In Calabar, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
And with that report, we wrap up our news this evening. Thanks for being part of it. I am Brina Obasi. Good evening.